What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Wrexham Movie Podcast, the podcast where everything is connected. I'm your host, Jacob Thompson, and joining me is my co-host, friend, and the person most likely to have a secret compartment in his oven that stores a bunch of deadly knives, Alex Perkins. Perk, how you doing tonight?
I'm well, thanks. I actually just used the knife drawer.
You leave them out in the open like that.
Well, that's where they usually hang out.
Let me ask you a quick question, Perk, because some people store their like pots and pans in the oven, but other people also store their jeans in there, and I just feel like it's a disaster waiting to happen.
I don't know, what's the logic?
I think it's like keeps them more dry, maybe. There is something that like a reason.
Okay.
But I know like in The Bear, which you haven't seen season 2 yet, but I think he like keeps his jeans in the oven. I'm just like, one of those days you're gonna turn it on an accident and it's gonna be bad.
I think keeping pots and pans in the oven is kind of unhinged. Unless you're talking about like the proving drawer at the bottom. That's where they go.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like in the oven.
Yeah, in the oven proper? No.
No, thank you. I'm going to preheat without looking. It's going to be bad news bears.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this is not a cooking podcast. This is a movie podcast.
So, yeah, sorry to wander as we often do.
Welcome back. This is the show where every week Perk and I review a movie connected to the last one we watched. If you like our show, we post pretty much every Friday on podcast services and YouTube. And don't forget to follow us on TikTok where we post clips from the show. Last week, we watched The Bros, and our connection to this week's movie is the actor Ma Dong-seok, as well as Angelina Jolie from this week. We're both in the movie Eternals. That's our little leapfrog to Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Perk, why don't you intro for us?
Yeah, all right. So Mr. and Mrs. Smith is a 2005 joint directed by Doug Liman, starring Brangelina. It is about a bored married couple of 5 or 6 years who are both secret agents, but they don't know that the other is until a mission gets crossed up and they are both after the same mark and it goes awry. And basically they're given 48 hours to dispose of the other. And then they find out, oh, wait, that's my hubby. Fun fact for you on this movie. Brad Pitt actually dropped out of the movie after the original co-star left, which was Nicole Kidman. But then when he was told Angelina Jolie was going to be taking the role, he came back on.
Interesting.
Yeah, shocking. I wonder if that led to anything.
Yeah. Well, this is where they met. I was curious about the timeline. This is where everything started.
Yeah, I think this movie ended a marriage.
Yeah, and started a new one.
Yep.
Well, Perk, what'd you think of Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
I don't think it's very good. And I really liked it. It's just, like, it's goofy and dumb and fun. And, I don't know, like, if you turn your brain off. I left my brain on, because there are just some funny things to pick apart. But this is just kind of, like, a super fun movie, a cool concept. Which hasn't been done to death like every other concept. And the stars have chemistry. And so it worked for me. I don't know. Like technically it's like a mid movie, maybe even leaning towards bad in some areas, but it's just enjoyable. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm right there with you. I think it's way too long. 2 hours is just too long of a time for this movie, and there's just like too many like I don't know, like steps. But overall, like you said, it's just a fun time. Like their chemistry is great, especially once they find out that and they like stop trying to kill each other and they work together. All that banter is just hilarious without like learning the truth about each other. I could watch that shit all day. Like it's just great. But yeah, like goofy stuff. Like all the technology in this movie is just so ridiculous and just early 2000s and just bad. Like Spy Kids shit. I'm just like, I don't know about that.
That's what I thought too. That's immediately what I thought is like, oh, this is like Spy Kids for grown up.
Yeah. So like that was a bit unfortunate. I would have liked to have been able to take that a little bit more seriously. But yeah, I mean, this movie is not a serious one. Like it's just a fun time, and I think it succeeded in that front.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the main criticism you levied there was that it's too long. So I had, due to scheduling conflicts, I had to watch this movie in 2 halves, which I think might have improved that for me. Like I never got tired of it. It never got too slow for me. But also, uh, it does feel like kind of like almost a second episode.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I think, yeah, because it's like a 2 hour movie. It didn't need to be more than about 80 or not 80, about 90 or
Yeah.
100 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty easy how you could solve that. I think you just get rid of the plot with the kidnapped Mark.
Yeah.
Where he
just
comes back into the fold. I think you
Yeah.
could just do away with that, and that'd save you some time for sure.
Yeah, that, and also you just reveal their hitmen way earlier. Like, I think the opening scenes of this movie should have been them each on a job and then them coming to couples therapy, you know? Kind of like the Incredibles opening, where they're both on missions and they come get to their wedding, you know? Because it's just like, maybe it's because this movie's old, but I don't imagine anybody's watching this movie, even when it came out, maybe that didn't know the premise. Like, maybe that's unfair to say, but it's just like, just get to the part where you reveal, like, it's not a shocking revelation that they're both like hitmen or whatever.
So I'll disagree with you because
Okay.
I thought that the opening was super fun, and it's like a textbook definition of dramatic irony, where the audience knows more than the main characters.
Mm.
And I liked seeing them do their like stupid run around behind each other's backs stuff.
Oh no, I like that. I'm just saying, like, the fact that we got their like origin story, which was cute. I like that a lot. And then like there's like some tease of what are they actually doing, and then it's finally revealed they're hitmen. I'm like, just start with them both on a job. We don't need to wait, 23 minutes in the movie to reveal that.
Sure.
You could just save some time in the middle.
You could also maybe have taken out their like the whole scene of them meeting, but I really like the therapy scenes. Actually, surprising.
They're the best part of the movie.
I think they're actually just good.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm really happy they ended on one. I was worried we just dropped that completely. I'm glad that we got the final scene, because those are fantastic.
Yeah, they were really good. And I think like the biggest strength in this movie, which is present in those scenes, and also my favorite scene, which was the minivan chase.
Oh my god, it's so good.
So I think so much of this movie rides on the chemistry and the banter between the two leads.
Yeah,
because they play off each other so well. It is so smooth and so believable. And yeah, they were banging, and that probably helps. But like, it's just so clever, and the wit between the two of them is so fun.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of this movie I enjoyed because it's goofy fun. The minivan scene I think is actually just like a fantastic scene.
Oh yeah, it's genuinely good, and that's what it just took way too long for us to get to that.
Sure,
it took way too long for them to like find out about each other and then also get to the point where they're working together. Because I could watch 2 hours of just them doing that stuff. Like
that whole scene is great because first of all, it's a really good chase scene. It's well done. But then on top of that, it's just the one-liners they're throwing back and forth at each other. Just so good.
I think she's like, I'm an orphan. My parents are actually dead. He's like, who's that guy at her wedding? She's like, he's an actor, and he's like, I can't even talk to you right now. Like, just that all that.
I
stuff
knew I saw
incredible.
your father on Fantasy Island.
Exactly. Like, yeah, that stuff in the couples therapy. Like, when we get the actual banter, it's incredible. The stuff with like Vince Vaughn and like the sneaking around, some of it's good, some of it's kind of like whatever,
Yeah, I mean, I like Vince Vaughn, and he plays Vince Vaughn, and it works, and it's a good bit. But I think you're right. There are a few peripheral things that maybe just needed to be trimmed down.
And I think they did some trimming, because the fact that Keith David plays father and we see one shot of him and then never again. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, Keith David for that?
I was confused. I was like, is there at some point going to be a big like meetup with the bosses?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure there was, and they cut it. Because it's like, why the fuck would you get Keith David and not use him?
Right. Also, just a quick wedge in a question, because I didn't follow. Do we know who the person is at the top of the elevator that the guy's not allowed to go in?
Keith David.
Oh, that's okay. That's Keith David?
Well, yeah, I think so, because that's when we see the one shot of his face. I'm pretty sure.
No, it's not. Because I think... Oh, maybe. I'm trying to remember.
See, yeah, I think there was more of that stuff, and they cut it, thankfully. But you should have cut even more of it. Like,
I was super confused, though. Like, the whole time that the, like, desk jockey fake kidnapping, all of his stuff, the whole time I was like, who is he?
Yeah.
What's going on with this? And it's supposed to be like that.
Yeah. And they kind of have some breadcrumbs of he's called like the Tank. Even Brad Pitt's like the Tank. Like this is a scrawny kid. But that's kind of undercooked for what it ends up being. I don't know.
Sure. And the way he talks to the guards, like
he's hot shit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh. It makes sense in retrospect, but the whole time I was like, is this supposed to be the same guy that was in that office? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's got a pretty forgettable face. No offense, Adam Brody. But
one thing I'm curious if you picked up on, and it's not even that bad, but I just noticed it, and it could have been a lot worse for this era of movie. But there's just some weird, like, gender stuff of, like, boys rule, girls drool, kind of like with Vince Vaughn's character. And then, like, I thought it was just very odd that Angelina Jolie's agency was all women, but there was a man at the head of it called Father. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, this feels a little bit just weird. And again, it's barely in the movie, but like, there's some weird gender dynamics that felt a little bit dated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I was definitely chuckling at like the super girl boss spy agency. You know, it's like,
their escape route of like shooting the grappling hooks. Yeah, like I don't know. Oh yeah, because that was like it's very Spy great. Kids. Though even though that set design was very Spy Kids.
Yes. But yeah, like the fact that they all work for the father, it's like Charlie's Angels type vibe, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
But yeah, the fact that it was like all women is cool, but it seems an odd choice, I guess. I don't know. Well, the idea is it's like husband versus wife.
Yeah.
Guys versus gals, even if it is just Brad Pitt and Vince Vaughn. But I did have a chuckle where I'm like, why is everyone here a woman? Not saying that women don't deserve a role in a spy agency. It's just it seemed kind of goofy.
Yeah, and it was clearly a choice they made, and it was just like, for what purpose, you know?
Yeah.
Again, if it was a woman at the head of it, I'd be like, oh yeah, cool. But the fact that it was like, again, like Keith David, who is called Father, I'm like, I don't know about this. I do not know about this at all. But it was barely in the movie, so it's fine. Another thing I liked a lot was, I think some of the physical, like, okay, the end scene of them standing in the middle of a mall with 20 people having eyes on them and them just spinning and shooting, whatever. But I thought the physicality was actually very good. Like when they're fighting in the house together and they're bumping into walls and breaking shit. I actually liked that quite a bit. I thought it was pretty good choreography.
Oh yeah.
And I thought even like just quickly earlier when she's like balancing on that chair, very cool little effect to just kind of show her ability, but like have be subtle. Stuff like that I think was really cool.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought that the action is like pretty good throughout, and a lot of you're right. A lot of the hits feel pretty weighty.
Yeah,
you know, it's not like, you know, although I guess he shakes off a stab wound to the thigh, but
yeah,
you know what I mean.
They're a bit invincible, but you know, it's fine.
And who cares?
Yeah,
when they come out, when they come spinning, shooting out the little shed, like yeah, they would have been dead immediately, but it's more fun.
You're telling me 20 hitmen from their agency can't hit a headshot when they're out in the open? Like, okay.
Also, since all these people are tactical, they have to be hitting headshots from every bullet too. Yeah. Like, but who cares? You gotta suspend that because it's fun. Like, I don't care how gritty and realistic it is. It's a stupid spy movie.
Yeah.
On the topic though of the balancing on the chair scene, first of all, it was needless. I mean, she probably could have gotten away with just standing on the chair. But I loved how before the reveal they are so flippant with their spy shit. Always, it is like, how in 5 years have neither of you caught each other?
Yeah,
her knives are just in the brightly lit, fully windowed kitchen. She just opens up this magic thing. Hey,
it's a secret compartment. It's a little elevator situation.
I know, but what if he just walks through the door?
I know. I'm like, you're telling me she's never been to the tool shed? One foot there, she would have clocked that.
Yeah, I don't know. And on top of that too, like the scene where they both go on separate hits and then come back, and she just like barely gets around in time for him to not see her.
Yeah.
How many times has stuff like that happened in 5 years? You got to be
6.
so lucky to have. Sorry, 5 or 6. I've never gotten in on any of that.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was so goofy. Like they're barely even trying to hide it from each other, but somehow doing it perfectly. I guess.
You're telling me like one of them didn't try to hide a gun in the house and there's already a gun there. Like, yeah, something would have happened, but whatever, it's fine for the movie.
Yeah, unless according to the logic of the movie, Brad Pitt hit all his guns in boy spots, like the TV and the shed and the cigar case.
Mm-hmm.
And she hit all her guns in like the jewelry box and the oven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just that's what's wrong with that kind of gender stuff. It's just like, all right, but it's fine. Go ahead.
So yeah, another thing that this movie has that a lot of movies have that it's so goofy. I chuckle every time. But when they have the scene where they've got both guns pointed at each other and they say, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you the things they were doing before that. She put a bomb in his jacket.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't find that, he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
She was blind firing a shotgun through a wall. You just like
mm-hmm.
they were when he cuts the gas line in and floods the kitchen with gasoline so that she'll shoot it and it will explode. And several times they will come around a corner with a machine gun and pre-fire before they come around the corner. It's like, you're trying to tell me you couldn't do it? These are all guaranteed kill shots. Like, if any of these things connect, you've done the
But
deed.
the difference is, Perk, they didn't have to look at each other's eyes while they were doing it for all those.
Right, but I feel like if you're looking someone down and you just can't do it. What? Firing a shotgun through a wall is no different.
Yeah.
That you get one whole layer of drywall as abstraction, but it's like I always giggle. It's like, oh, I couldn't I can't kill you, even though I just cut your elevator wire and sent you 70 floors of the ground. Like,
to be fair, she didn't intend to do that.
She didn't do that one. That's fair.
But no, I actually did think the pre-firing around the corner was cool. Like when she pre-fired into the kitchen and then shoots the gas line. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But that was not cool was when she has the assault rifle in one hand and the shotgun in the other, and she's holding them like akimbo. And neither of them are like neither stock is in her shoulder. They're like hanging below. I'm like, if you fire any of those weapons, they're gonna be flying out of your hand. Like you're telling me you're a professional assassin, and you're like that's your stance. Like, this is pre John Wick. This is pre the invention of gun fu. So I'll allow it. But post John Wick, it's like this would not fly. I think the other great scene we haven't mentioned is the dinner scene where they're both trying to suss out if the other person knows.
That's a really fantastic scene. I agree.
Yeah. That's great. And like just a little bit of like, can you pass the salt? Oh, it's right here, and then he drops the wine bottle and she catches it and he's like, all right, it's on. That's a great little tense scene.
Janie. It's I see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I don't think this movie's like, it shouldn't win awards.
No.
People probably shouldn't even like, this shouldn't even be memorable, but it's just so damn fun.
Yeah, exactly. I would recommend this movie in a heartbeat.
There was one scene that stuck out to me.
Okay.
From like an awful technical standpoint. But after they leave dinner, Brad Pitt hijacks a limo, and the limo driver in some really, really tragic ADR.
Well, dude, it's not even that. They the frame rate sped up.
That.
Oh, okay.
But in really just like obvious ADR, he says, "Limo, sir?" Yeah. Just like clearly dubbed. And then there's when he steals the limo for whatever reason, that like 2-second clip is sped up 2 times speed.
What was that, like, dude? What was that?
What was this? How did nobody catch this in test screenings?
Like, did they accidentally undercrank the camera or something? Like, what the hell happened there? That was nuts.
I'm like, this is a professional Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
These are not mistakes.
There was one other scene where that happened that was like a second of it. I can't remember where it was, but yeah. No, I caught that too. I'm like, what the fuck was that? It was so weird.
What happened? Are you trying to hit a musical cue? Not really.
Yeah. That was super odd. Also, just the fact that seemed like a very convenient little getaway thing. I think they just something happened with the script. Like, we just got to just move on to the next thing. But yeah, that was very odd. Anything else you want to talk about? I mean, yeah, this is a really fun
I don't
movie.
know.
I'd say
Very
go
fun.
see it. You know,
Not especially good, but super fun. Like, watch it if you can find it. It's not really streaming anywhere convenient.
not
Unless you have
stars.
stars. Nobody has stars. I have stars, but nobody has stars.
Yeah. As far as recommendations go, I gotta recommend Spy Family, which must have been like somewhat inspired by this.
I'm sure in part.
Yeah, but for those who don't know, it's an anime where with a very similar premise of husband is a secret agent, the wife is an assassin. And they don't know about the other one, but the twist is that they have an adopted daughter who is telepathic. So she knows everything.
Oh, she knows.
But she's also 5, so she thinks it's very cool that she has a secret agent dad and an assassin mom. And it's much more of a comedy and very wholesome and fun. So I think it's it's better than this. But yeah, so if you want something similar that's a little more wholesome and funny, Spy Family is it's the best.
Yeah, I don't have any recs really. Other than like I'm sure this is based off of a movie from the 50s or something. Like,
yeah, I was on IMDb and I saw like there was some older things called Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They seemed like similar, but not exactly the same. I think this was probably tweaked a little bit.
And then I don't know why, but like, so the concept of too much of a good thing, because we on our anime and then Korea strings, we watched a ton of really good movies, but a lot of them were super heavy and really kind of taxing to watch. So it was nice to watch just some fun garbage.
Yeah. And
it just, for whatever reason, it reminded me of Chain Reaction, the movie that we watched a while ago. Yeah. It's just like, it's nothing special, but it's a fun watch. You don't have to think too hard.
Yeah. No, that's a good shout. I was talking, my roommates were doing kind of like a Keanu Reeves kind of movie series they want to do. And I'm like,
sure, yeah.
Chain Reaction, throw it in.
Absolutely.
No one's heard of it, but it's not that bad. Oh, man. Well, that is our review of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Stay tuned to find out what we're watching next week. Before that, it's a bonus review time. Perk, you're going first. What'd you watch this week?
I am. Had family in town and just on Thanksgiving when we were lazing around, or maybe this was the next morning, just decided to throw on a fun, wholesome family movie. So we watched Moana, which I have seen before.
Yeah.
It's good. It's fun. It's not like perfect. I like a few of the songs, but I don't love most of them. Like the titular song is a banger. You're Welcome by The Rock is fantastic as well. It's got a nice story. It's not like a story that we've seen a ton of times. Fun characters, and the dumb chicken is nice.
I'm sick of these sidekick characters in every single Pixar Disney movie.
Hey, at least this one doesn't talk.
That's true, but I'm just like, once you start seeing it, they're literally in every single one, and I'm just like, can we stop? Like, you don't need to do this.
They actually call it out in Moana, where The Rock says, "You're a princess," and she's like, "I'm not a princess. I'm the daughter of the chief." And he says, "You're wearing a dress and you've got an animal sidekick, so you're a princess."
Yeah. Also, you're not going to shout out Shiny, the song by Jermaine Clement?
Oh, Shiny's also great. Yeah. I don't know why I forgot that one. Sorry to all the Tamatoa fans out there.
Yeah. No, Moana's great. I think I've only seen it once, maybe twice, but I like the song quite a bit.
It's a nice, comfy watch.
Yeah, for sure. I also saw a movie with the fam over the holidays. We went and saw the new Hunger Games film, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
I'm not especially curious to hear what you have to say about it.
Well, so here's the problem. I went in thinking this movie was about a different person. So I knew it was about Snow, but I thought, because I haven't seen movies in forever, I thought Snow was Philip Seymour Hoffman's character. It is not. It is.
Oh, yeah. I Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is the like, I don't remember.
Well, I thought he was the mentor, and he's not really. He's just kind of another like exec, but I think he's like kind of morally gray. For some reason, that was about him. No, Snow is Donald Sutherland, the main bad guy. So this is like a villain origin story.
He's the president of the...
Yeah. Which, once I figured that out after the movies ended, I'm like, okay, I like it more. Because I was like, man, he gets very evil. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. He's the bad guy. Here's what I'll say. I think the acting is fantastic. I think Rachel Ziegler as the lead is incredible. I can't believe this is only her third movie. I mean, she did West Side Story, which is an insane debut. Shazam 2, I'm sorry. And then, this one. She's good, and she can fucking sing, man. Holy shit.
She's really good in West Side Story.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it.
That was a good movie.
I want to get the name of the guy as well, because he was also quite good. Tom Blythe, is that how you say it?
Is there an E? Probably Blythe.
Yeah, Blythe. He's really good as well. Viola Davis is in there. It's a solid cast, and I think the acting is good. Production design is cool, seeing like this older, more retro version of the setting. And I think it mostly works. I was surprised by how intrigued I was, because I haven't thought about or cared about Hunger Games since high school. But I was pretty in. I will say it has a 3-part structure with like title cards of part 1, part 2, part 3. First 2 parts are super engaging and great. Part 3 really slows down the pacing, and because we changed settings, I was like, okay, I know they're trying to follow the book, but it really slowed things down, and I was a little bit less engaged. That's also when we started to see kind of his turn more, and it's mostly believable. I think there's a couple jumps there, but overall, I think this is a solid movie. I'm seeing it's got like a 54 Metascore. I think it's a bit low. I think, if you're a fan of Hunger Games, you probably have already seen it, and I would recommend it. If you're not, like, I'm not saying run off to theaters, but if somebody invites you to go along with them. Like, it's a pretty good time. So, yeah, I mean, Hunger Games has always had kind of like themes that are so relevant today. I think that's also true for this movie. But yeah, I mean, it's good. It's a good time.
It's good to hear. I never read that book, and I stopped watching the movies after number 2. So I really fell off that series.
Yeah, I think I saw Mockingjay Part 1. I don't know if I ever saw the last one. So yeah, I'm not the biggest Hunger Games fan, but that's a lot of good time. Perk, what's the last thing you watched?
As we've discussed in the past, it's nice to, when you wake up, have a quick show to throw on to kind of get your brain moving.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to make the new season of Welcome to Wrexham that show for me. And I failed because I wanted to keep watching it. So I watched it in other times as well.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely fantastic. It's such a cool show. If for those unfamiliar, it follows the story of Wrexham AFC, which is a soccer team in Wales, in the town called Wrexham, that was purchased by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And there's a documentary chronicling their whole journey from buying the club to coming in as owners to what continues to happen. And at the end of the first season, they which was the first season of them owning the team, they did not quite get promoted. And then this season was their grind once again to try and get promoted, and it has a happier ending than the first season. And what I love about this show is it's great for people who like don't watch sports but are looking for a kind of an interesting documentary.
Sure.
Because it's about a soccer team, but it's about a lot more than that. So, like in an episode, for example, there will be like a game or two that happens, and you'll get a few highlights probably. Only the major, like big time games, kind of get more full focus. But a lot of times it'll be like, there's a game this week, and we're gonna follow this fan with autism and see how she enjoys the games and talk to her about her experience with the club. And we're going to talk to this player and his family because his son has Asperger's, and that's really important for him and for them, and autism awareness and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Or this week we're going to follow this player who is taking a step away from the team because his wife has a brain tumor, and they want to be together. And more than that, too, it'll be like this is a guy. He's a divorced single father of two. He works as a painter, and he loves the team. And this is just kind of what's going on in his life. And it is about a soccer team, but it is way more focused on the community. And it's so cool to see just kind of the experiences of these people and their life around this soccer team. And it really is enthralling. It helps that the two guys who bought the team are incredibly charismatic, and pretty well liked actors by most people.
Yeah.
And you always got your detractors, but it's a lot of fun. It's a very cool show. I recommend it to most soccer fans because if you like soccer, you're definitely gonna enjoy it. But even if not, I think maybe check it out. Just because it's like a little docu-series that has a lot of heart. Even if you're not big into sports, I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like if you're a Ted Lasso fan, this would be a good.
If you like Ted Lasso, you
sequel.
love this show for sure.
Well, great. I'm glad to hear it. Have you picked out your next morning wake up show yet?
I haven't. I'll figure it out.
You do have a Malala on
I
deck.
do have to Malala.
That could be.
But I feel like if
option.
I wake up and watch Ping Pong the anime, it'll give me like terrors.
It's possible.
Start off your day with Ping Pong. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, that's our show for this week, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Next week, we're going to be following Brad Pitt to another film, Thelma and Louise, featuring Susan Sarandon. Don't know much about it. I recognize the title, so threw it out there, and we want to watch it. So, Thelma and Louise is streaming on AMC Plus. If you have that, maybe Paramount Plus, kind of unclear, and renting as always. So, next week, Thelma and Louise on AMC and to rent. But until then, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye-bye.